we also have my husband, Mr. Preston Morgan, who is trying to work a camera off camera. So anyway, we're very excited. We've watched the Pluto Files. We've read a little bit of Merlin's Guide to the Universe. We saw the video this morning with your friend Bill Nye the Science Guy and the whole star stuff thing. So anyway, we're just kind of excited about Skyping with a real scientist.
Okay, well, if you're in second grade, it means you have a zillion questions, isn't that right?
Oh, yeah.
You know what happens? By the time you become grown-ups, they forget how to ask questions. It's always much more fun to be a kid, because then you live, everything about you is a question. So I'm here. So my expertise is Pluto is one of many things I'm an expert in, but also most things in the universe. So other planets and stars and galaxies and black holes and all sorts of things. So whatever questions you have, I'm happy to hear them.
All right, great. All right, let's see. Kendall, you just stand up where you are and ask your question, okay?
What got you so interested in space?
Well, I was 9 years old. How old are you guys?
9.
Okay. I was 9 years old, and my family went and we visited the local planetarium. That's called the Hayden Planetarium, where I'm from. And I was 9 years old, and I sat in this big, comfortable chair, and the room was round, and it had a round ceiling, and they dimmed the lights. It went completely dark. I grew up in the city, and it's never that dark. And so they turned out all the lights, and then they put the stars on the dome, and I was hooked ever since. In fact, I think the universe chose me. I don't think I chose the universe. And so I've enjoyed thinking about the universe ever since I was 9 years old. Yeah.
Awesome. All right, Amaris?
Are you married?
Okay, stand up.
Oh.
Ask him.
Are you married?
Am I married? Yes, I am married. I got married later than many people get married. I was 30 years old when I got married.
Ooh, that's
and a lot of people get married when they're in their 20s. And then it'd be another 10 years or so before I have kids. So I now have a son who's in 6th grade, and I have a daughter who's in high school.
All right, Quan?
What is your favorite thing about space?
My favorite thing about space is that there's so much there that we don't know yet. And I like studying things that I don't know, because sometimes it's hard and you have to figure out how to get the answer, because most people think that there's an answer to everything. And when you're a scientist, you find those parts of the world where we don't understand yet, and then you study that. So I like the universe because it's such a frontier of things to discover.
All right, Caitlin? Stand up.
How big is Pluto?
How big is Pluto?
How big is Pluto? You mean how little is Pluto? Pluto is much smaller than Earth's moon. Our moon is pretty small compared to Earth. Like if this is Earth, then our moon is about like that big, and then Pluto's about that big. Wow. So Pluto's just really tiny. And
Okay, Braden?
If you put it on a map of the United States, it might come maybe halfway across.
How come it takes so long to get to Pluto?
Oh, well, Pluto's very far away, but the real reason is we don't have very good engines to do this. Our engines are good for getting us into orbit around Earth and to the moon and back. We get to the moon in a couple of days, but to get to Pluto, it takes 10 years on the fastest spaceship we have. And so that's a long time. I don't want to wait 10 years before I get there. So we need new ways of traveling fast that we don't have yet. They have it in science fiction stories, but they don't have it in real engineering. So we have people trying to solve that problem.
All right, good. Braden, did you already ask that question?
Yeah.
Okay.
No,
Scott?
I didn't.
Oh, Braden, go ahead and ask your question.
How long does it take to walk around Pluto?
To walk, well, it's big enough so that it would take a long time to walk across it. So if you wanted to take a stroll on Pluto, well, first you need a flashlight because it's very dark. And then you need a spacesuit because there's no air to breathe. Then you need a heater because it's really cold. All of that, then if you wanted to walk completely around Pluto, it might take you a month.
Wow, that's not actually very long.
How about Earth?
How about Earth? Well, so you want to walk around Earth, so let's see, 25,000 miles divided by 3, 1,000 hours, 1 minute, it's 4. Yeah, it'll take you maybe 6 months.
Wow.
Did you just do all that math in your head, Dr. Tyson?
Yeah.
Wow.
Listen, on Earth, a lot of the Earth is ocean, so you have to figure out how to walk on water if you wanted to walk on Earth. So you need a boat at some point.
That's right. Be like Jesus. All right, Annabelle.
How many days will it take to walk around the moon?
Around the moon, so it'll take you a little longer, maybe 60 days, about 2 months, maybe.
All right, good. All right, Skylar.
How did you learn? How did you know all these things, and how did you learn all this?
Well, so once you start asking questions, then you get an answer to your question, and then you know a new kind of question to ask. Because the more you know, the more kinds of questions you can ask. That's the fun thing about learning. You figure out more things that you didn't even know that you didn't know. And so if you didn't know you didn't know it, you wouldn't even know to ask the question. So you learn new things, then you learn new questions, and then you keep studying. And I would watch TV shows, and I'd read books, and I'd talk to people who were smarter than I was, and I'd listen to teachers, and I'd visit museums, and I do all these things, and I still do that today.
All right, Gracie.
How many of Mars will it take to fill up Jupiter?
How many Marses will it take to fill up Jupiter?
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay, so Jupiter, let me see, it's 10 times 1,000. It takes several thousand Marses. If you hollowed out Jupiter and it was empty on the inside, and you took round Marses and poured them in, it would take about, like I'm saying, so it's about 200, about 10,000 Marses to fill up Jupiter.
Wow.
But you know it takes even more if the sun were hollow, and I wanted to pour Earths into a hollow sun, it would take 1 million Earths. 1 million.
Wow, that's big. All right, Destiny.
How did you get into science?
Well, once I figured out that I liked science and that I liked the universe, then I took extra math classes in school because I learned that if you want to know how the universe works, the universe speaks in its own kind of language, in the language of math. And math allows you to talk to the universe. And when the universe talks back, it talks back in a way where math helps you understand it. And then I said, well, I wonder if I could make this a career. Because grown-ups are always asking you what you want to be when you grow up. And so I kept studying. I kept studying and studying and did it in high school and then in college. And once you learn all this, then people actually hire you to study the universe. And that's what I'm doing now.
Okay, Ali.
How much years have you discovered Pluto?
Oh, well, Pluto, we've known about, people who came before me discovered Pluto in 1930. So that was a long time ago. So we've known about Pluto for, if you do the math, it's 82 years. And now, Pluto, of course, is much older than that. We only just learned about it 82 years ago. So, but we demoted it, which means we made it no longer a planet, beginning in 2006. So just a few years after you guys were born, we figured Pluto, it should no longer be a planet. And so science moves on. We learn new things every year, and we learn new ways to think about the universe. And Pluto was one of the things that happened as a result of that.
Bree, did you ask your question? Okay. All right, let's see. Don't raise your hand if you've already asked. Please push your hands down. I'm only calling people who haven't had a turn. Jimmy.
What do you like about science?
What do I like about science? So they're all different kinds of sciences. There's biology, you learn about life, and then there's chemistry, you learn about chemicals, and then you've got geology, you learn about rocks and the earth and volcanoes, and then there's physics, you learn about materials and motion and energy, and astrophysics. We take all of that combined, we try to understand the whole universe. So I like all the ways we can ask questions about the Earth and the universe. And so I like all the sciences, just my specialty is the universe itself.
Okay. Katie.
Two questions. How many dwarf planets have you found?
Dwarf planets. How many
Oh,
dwarf
yeah, so I have other people who look for dwarf planets, and then I usually tell others when they find them. So I don't know the latest number, but it's dozens of dwarf planets. But we expect that number to get very high. And a dwarf planet is one that's really small, but it's still big enough to be round. Because if you get too small, then you end up looking like a potato, and that's not, you can't look like potato and still be a planet.
No.
And the second one.
Okay, Katie. Go ahead.
Can Pluto crush a tree?
Can Pluto crush a tree? Okay.
Oh yeah, Pluto's big enough, it could crush an entire state. Oh yeah, you don't want to collide with Pluto. That'd be a really bad day on Earth.
Okay.
So,
That was an
small
excellent second grade question.
Yeah, it's small compared with other planets, but it can still do really bad damage on Earth if it fell.
Dang.
Yeah.
All right, Samson.
How big is Mars?
How big is Mars?
How big is Mars? Mars, there are two ways you can think of size. One of them is just sort of how physically big it is across. And if you think about it that way, Mars is about half the width of Earth. But it turns out that the amount of material inside of Mars compared with the material inside of Earth, you have to compare it in a different way. You'll learn later in math, you'll learn a subject called geometry. And in geometry, you learn to calculate how much volume a sphere takes up. And what you find is that Earth has about 10 times the mass, 10 times the amount of material in it than Mars does.
Okay, 10 times bigger. Okay, raise your hand if you've not had a turn to ask a question. Brian.
I got two questions. How are you friends with Bill Nye, the science guy?
Yeah, so there are a lot of organizations in the country that are where they have a person in charge. But in all those organizations, there's a group of people behind that person who we call the board. It's called the board. And the board gets together a few times a year and makes important decisions about the organization. And I met Bill Nye on the board of one of these organizations. The organization is called the Planetary Society. And we became very good friends. In fact, I would count him probably as my best friend right now.
Lucky.
And have you discovered life on Mars yet?
No, we're looking, and we have a spacecraft en route to Mars right now. It's called the Curiosity rover. It's about the size of a big car, about the size of an SUV, actually. And we're going to land it, and if all goes well, that's going to drive around and look for life on Mars. So that should be in the headlines coming around this summer, between your class now and your class you take in the fall.
Cool. All right. Well, Preston?
Are aliens real and have you ever seen one?
Are aliens real and have you ever seen one?
I've never seen an alien, and there are probably aliens out there because it's a really big universe, and the universe has been around a really long time, and there are a lot of planets, and all the ingredients of life on Earth, you find those ingredients in all the rest of the galaxy. So there are probably aliens out there. Most of the aliens are probably just be like small microbes or bugs. Usually when people use the word alien, though, they think of some kind of intelligent life. And it's probably out there. These lights in the sky that people see, they want to believe that they're intelligent aliens that came from another planet. But scientifically, it's not good enough evidence to convince someone who likes good evidence. You know what would be really good evidence? If you walk into the classroom holding hands with an alien. That would be really good evidence that aliens existed.
And some people say aliens gave us Velcro.
Aliens gave us Velcro. Well, that's a theory.
Yeah, I think humans are smart enough to come up with Velcro on their own.
Yeah. I don't know. We might need to make a show called the Velcro Files or something. All right, Connie?
Hey, Dad, tell me about Velcro. How did you learn about space and where did you learn about it?
Yeah, so once you take math classes, then you also take science classes in school. When you get to high school, you can decide, usually they tell you what classes you need to take, but they have other classes called electives. Classes you take just because you're extra interested in that subject. And then when you get to college, then you could take classes, you can choose what classes you want to take. So all my classes were in the sciences and in the universe in particular, and you combine that with the math, and then you learn all about it. And so once it's the classes that you take, and you hope you have good teachers along the way.
Okay, good.
And when you're on TV, and you have that little ball, the little ball in your pocket, in your jacket, and you put it down, is Pluto really that small?
Compared to the sun that we set up on the field, Pluto is that small. It's not actually that small in space, but we took all the sizes of everything in the solar system and shrunk them down to fit onto that field. And so the sun was maybe, I forgot how big it was, a big balloon 10 feet across. We give the exact size in the video. And if that's the size of the sun, then Pluto would be this size. That's right. And so, yeah, Pluto's tiny.
Okay, raise your hand if you've not had a chance to ask one question yet. Okay, Annabelle, did you have another question? Okay.
How big is a star?
How big is a star?
Stars come in all sizes. There's some stars as small as the Earth, and some stars 1,000 times bigger than our sun. So they're a huge difference in the sizes of stars.
Okay.
And so the biggest ones are so big that they're bigger than the entire orbit of the Earth.
Wow.
And in fact, one day, the sun will be that size. Can you imagine the sun rising, and it's the entire horizon showing the sun as it comes up? Eventually, the sun will become so big, it will engulf Earth, and we will be orbiting deep within inside. Now, it's a long time in the future, nothing you have to worry about.
Okay, Madison?
I have this potion thing. Do y'all do any potions?
Like science experiments using potions and stuff?
Oh, yeah, I try not to drink stuff that I make in a science class.
That's a good rule.
I think they might do that in Harry Potter, but
Yes.
no, I'm not going to be drinking it. I mean, it might be fun. I might smell it, or take a look at it, or feel what kind of texture it has. But no, and most chemicals are not good for you. And so we do a lot of work to try to find the chemicals that are good for you, and it's a lot of effort to determine that.
Okay, cool. Okay, Bree, did you have another question? Okay.
Do you know what is on Pluto?
Do you know what is on Pluto?
You know, we don't know for sure, but we have a mission headed there right now. It's called New Horizons. That's the name of the mission. It's going to get there in 2015 or 2016, and when it arrives, it's going to get close-up images of Pluto. Then we'll know for sure what's there. Right now, we're pretty sure it's icy.
How long does it take to get back?
But what's mysterious about Pluto is that there are areas of the surface that are very dark. You wouldn't expect it to be dark if it was pure ice. And so there's some dark patches and light patches, and we don't know what that is. Could it be mountains? We just don't know. So we've got a spaceship headed there right now to find out.
Gracie?
How many people do you think it will take to cover the whole area of the sun?
People?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, people don't cover the whole area of the Earth. And the sun is 1,000,000 times bigger than the Earth. Well, that's the volume of the Earth. The surface of that's the volume of the sun. So why would you want people to cover the sun? You know what happens if you put people on the sun?
Yes.
Yeah. There's a word, I don't know if you've heard it yet, it's called they vaporize.
Yeah,
Which means they burn up and they become a puff of smoke. So I don't really want to put people on the sun. It's much safer to stay here on Earth.
That's right. Okay, Twan?
Can we talk to Bill Nye one day?
Well, he's not the one to ask. I have to figure that out now. He wants to talk to Bill Nye.
Oh, you want to talk to me? Yeah, I don't have him here.
now.
He's not right there. I'll have to call his person.
If we have Scott, yes.
All right.
Are you rich?
Samson. No, sir.
Remember on this one show, it's actually kind of like fiction, but have you ever heard it's like a thing where you use it in ships, but like spaceships, but
it really helps you if you don't have it in a ship, because then you'll get too old and you'll die. But I think it's like sort of called like cyber
something?
chase? No.
Okay, we're off script now. So.
Well, okay, so there are, in some science fiction movies, they show people on very long space voyages, and then they put them in what's called suspended animation. And this is where they basically they hibernate. You know about bears, they go into a cave and they hibernate. So there's talk of doing that, but I'd rather just get there faster. I'd rather put the effort into better ways of moving fast than slow ways and then put me in hibernation. Maybe there's something that I want to see along the way.
Okay. All right, Brian, I think we're just about done. One more question.
Okay.
You ever seen that movie called Apollo 18?
No, I haven't yet. I meant to Netflix it. Have you seen it?
No, but it's about these guys. They land on a moon, and they're trying to see what's going on, what's happening, if there's any like stuff on the moon. And I haven't seen the whole thing yet, but it's like they like get attacked by aliens, I think. I don't know.
Oh, so they're aliens on the moon who can somehow live in the vacuum of space. Yeah, I mean, what science fiction movies, they always have aliens attacking us. I guess there was one science fiction movie where the alien did not attack us. Do you remember what movie that was? E.T.
Oh, he didn't attack. Yeah, that's right. He ate our Reese's Pieces, though.
Yeah, he ate our candy, but he didn't try to attack us.
Very good. All right, Preston.
Have you ever seen Race to Witch Mountain?
Yes, I did. Actually, I saw part of it. I saw part of it. That's the one with Dwayne Johnson, The Rock.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. I like him in his movies.
All right, very good. Do the seniors have any questions? Okay. My daughter is like a serious fangirl of yours, by the way. So she's being very shy, actually. So did anything you needed to get out there? No, now she's going to be shy. Okay, we've heard about you for many, many years, but now we get the chance to talk to you, and now we're going to be shy. Okay, good. You don't need an intern or anything over there at the Hayden Planetarium, do you? We're trying to get rid of her. She's going to be graduating. We need to get her out of the house.
Trying to get her out of the house. There's the empty nest thing.
Yeah.
Actually, we start filming Cosmos in the fall.
Okay.
And that's primarily in Los Angeles.
Boy, Jimmy, come around.
And so I don't, right now, when we have interns, it's people who are going on to graduate school. And so they're in college, juniors or seniors.
Good to know.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's give a good... Okay, one more question, then we're going to be done.
Where are you right now?
New York City.
Right now, where am I?
New York.
Yeah, I'm in New York City, in one of the 5 counties of New York called Manhattan. And I was actually born and raised in New York City.
Wow.
But I went away to go to college, and then I came back.
Very good. Thank you. Good question. All right. Let's give him a very good, self-controlled... Yes, let's give him the Elvis. Stand up, please. Okay. And on 3. 1, 2, 3. We're going to get our lip going. And we're going to swing on a microphone. And we're going to catch our microphone. I want to say, thank you. All right, have a seat, please. All right. Thank you, Dr. Tyson, very much for your time. We appreciate it.
Be proud.
All right, thank you.
We'll see you in the papers.
Bye. Look at videos.
All right, very good. All